All right, it's my favorite day of the week, not just because it's Friday, because we focus a lot on technology, on our eye on tech. So let's look at fintech. We've talked streaming now, streaming music. In Nigeria, fintech sector primarily regulated by the Central Bank of Nigeria, with other agencies like the Securities and Exchange Commission, that's the SEC, and the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, and also playing key roles, ensuring compliance with laws like BOIFA and the Nigeria Data Protection Act. So with that in mind, as Nigeria's fintech sector continues to evolve, the future of regulated asset management is taking center stage, increasing demand for digital financial solutions. Industry players and regulators are working to establish a framework that ensures security, transparency, and sustainable growth. So how will these regulations shape the sector, and what challenges lie ahead? We're happy to have Oluwagbenga Magbagbeola, who is the MD of Sycamore Investment and Asset Management. Good morning to you, sir. Great to have you.
Good morning.
So we cover Asian stocks on this channel. We cover European stocks, US stocks. Everybody's looking at the stock market now, how things are diving. What are the protections involved for anyone who wants to use a fintech platform to buy securities overseas? How's the regulation in Nigeria protecting investors that way?
Well, that's a really good question because regulation is, very important to protect investors generally. But I'll speak directly about that with what the SEC is doing. SEC is
that's Securities and Exchange Commission,
that's
right?
the Securities and Exchange
for our
Commission
viewers.
in Nigeria. So they actually regulate investment and securities business in Nigeria. So what they're doing right now, which is an advantage in that space, is to I know that they have launched and they've had it for about a year or two now. They have an innovation incubator where they're actually bringing in fintech innovators to test run their innovation and products in a controlled environment. That's a positive. In a way, that helps both the regulator to shape rules that will guide and also shape even the product development. In the end, the investors and users are the ones that benefit because, again, the SEC is well aware of these innovations, and then the regulation itself is well tailored to protect them.
Now, we spoke with Ms. Dr. Emowatimi Agama, who is the DG of SEC. We ran into him in Casablanca earlier, not too long ago, and he was talking about the regulatory sandbox for fintechs and so on and so forth. So from your vantage point as a player in the sector, what do you make of the rules themselves? Are they going to be easy to comply with, or are there some things that are a little too stringent for the players? How are you viewing what they're putting together?
Yeah, so that's a good one. So I've been fortunate actually to even work with a few of the fintechs that are working with SEC right now. Previously in my past life, working with some of these fintechs. What I can say, because speaking with some of the founders, is that the SEC is open and welcoming. So they're listening to this innovation. They're trying to understand it. At the same time, they're using the opportunity to develop regulatory framework. These are emerging technologies, emerging innovation. What is happening is that, from what I gather, is that SEC is listening and SEC is also working with them to also educate them on how to comply with existing regulation. So there's a bit of collaboration going on there, and that helps. So
what about the licensing? What does it mean for you guys? Is it too expensive? Is it fairly priced? What do you make of that?
The licensing is pretty standard. I mean, I've been in the space, asset management, and this is my foray to marry the two together. So it's pretty standard. It's not too expensive, but again, it is, in my view, appropriate in order to bring in, the right players into the market. And it's not just about the price of the license. It's also about the players, the officers who actually execute in those firms.
There's a lot being said about how regulation always trails innovation, right? You guys are basically moving too fast for the regulators to be able to keep up. Can they ever catch up, or can they strike a balance between innovation and regulation from the perspective of the regulator?
That's a really great point. I mean, that's a debate.
I thought you say no, because everybody else says no. They're just like, no, they can't keep up.
Well, I mean, they have to try. They have to try because, again, they're saddled with that responsibility to protect investors, right? Which is why what SEC is doing with this sandbox is really important, really good. Again, innovation will come from, those are ideas that just pop up in someone's head, in a garage somewhere. There's no way regulation is going to be able to read all of this. But if you're already speaking to players, you have, like an innovation hub where you can pull as much fintech players together to see what they're doing, to understand their products, to even help them to shape how they develop these products. Then, they have a leg up.
We've seen a lot of, so with where inflation is, I know inflation has come down from 38, rebased now to about 24 for January. The Naira has stabilized about 1,005 or so as a result of the work of the central bank. But, prior to the stability, a year ago, February, we're at 1,009. And now we've come down to 1,500, which is a good thing. And everybody wants stability. But there is still an interest in investing in US dollar securities. Even on this show, when we have personal finance people, they talk about having, in fact, yesterday we had the chief investment officer of Cordros Asset Management who was talking about a well-balanced portfolio during a tariff thunderstorm. I think you and a number of other entities have US dollar funds, right? The government wants diaspora Nigerians to invest here. They had a bond that they put out, and in fact, it's a competitive field. How do you navigate through that field in terms of, from the regulatory standpoint, balancing with demand for Nigerians who want to be able to shore up their investments and so on and so forth with the US dollar funds? How are you viewing that pool?
Yeah, I think that's really great. You've put it together. You've put everything in one question.
That's what we do here. That's what we do.
Right. So you're right. It's almost a no-brainer for an asset manager, for example, to see that the best way to kind of navigate this current environment with potential currency devaluation, high interest rate environment, and all of that, and inflation obviously that erodes value, is to look at a stable currency to invest in, right? So that's kind of obvious to see. And that's what we've done at Sycamore to actually, look into this and design a product that is actually easy to use. Our product is very tailored, and we've worked with the regulator as well to, make sure that it meets up with higher standards, and also is easy for our customers to understand and to plug into. So yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's a benefit for our investors because now you don't have to worry about the value of your investment. It's in a stable currency, and then you can look forward to great returns on that investment as well.
So the thing is this: there's risk with every investment, and I think it's just the point of asset managers, and we do it on this show, is to let people know that there's a risk. If you had invested in the U.S. markets when the S&P 500 was at 61,000 points or 6,100 points, if you jumped in thinking that the S&P 500 was going to go further, you have lost money.
Especially when after the election.
After the election, when everybody was like, "Oh, Trump is going to turbocharge the market."
Exactly.
So, isn't the job just to tell people about the risk? You're going to lose money or you gain money. Investment is not management. So. That responsibility, though, still falls directly with who? You, as the players, to let customers know that it's not a pot of gold.
Yeah, every investment carries risk.
Yeah.
That's the first thing a fund manager or an advisor will tell you. But again, like I said, we've worked on this product with the regulators.
Yeah.
And we have the right mix of assets, that will be able to protect against these type of sharp movements, right? So the asset classes that we're investing in are those that they are more or less protected from the sharp swings that we're seeing currently in the US.
See, you know what I think everybody should get? It's just, I won't mention the name, there's a platform overseas where, in fact, there are a number of them. What I want the players, all you all to do is just give everyone, and of course the regulators will have a role to play here, of course, a single platform on your phone where you can just buy US stocks, buy Asia, buy Europe, buy Middle East, because Saudi Arabia, the UAE, there's a lot of investment going on there. Buy Asia. You just have one centralized platform on your phone. Because what I've noticed is that because, again, the US market is the most liquid and the deepest market on planet Earth, a lot of fund managers, a lot of them tend to focus mostly on the US. But if you want a diversified portfolio and to follow all the stocks that we talk about here, So isn't that possible? I mean, I know it's easier said than done.
That's a question for, all the stakeholders actually.
Yeah.
Because, the regulators, the players themselves. And that's one challenge that I know that, it's facing everyone who's trying to innovate in that space. The fact that there's cross-border differences in the regulation.
Right.
Now, if you have a product and an innovation that you want to bring to the market and you comply with your local regulators and you're able to bring that solution to the market, the solution might well be good and beneficial to other jurisdictions, but there are different sets of rules that you have to also comply with. So that's why I feel that, and we're working with the SEC as well, as much as possible. I think that it's very important because they keep the integrity in the market to see how they can also work with other jurisdictions to harmonize these rules.
Yeah.
Work with exchanges, work with other players and stakeholders in other jurisdictions.
Bosun or Mofai will shout at me. I should also mention African exchange. I should just mention, like for example, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange is the most liquid one, the largest exchange on the African continent. So investing, so not just Asia, Europe, investing in Egypt, South Africa, and the likes like that. So yeah, something really global. Okay, what's a quick outlook for the regulatory path for players like yourself as we move through 2025? Do you envision that things are going to be more productive, a lot easier, your relationship with regulators? How do you think it's going to go? Yeah,
that's a great question. I think, we're seeing that SEC and other regulators in Nigeria right now are active. They're actually very active in terms of clamping down on, bad actors. That's one problem that we've been facing in the Nigeria market. So we think that will continue. They will intensify, name and shame and all those kind of things. And again, that's why Sycamore has, gone the extra step to actually get a licensing, get an approval to actually operate in this space.
Yeah.
And also, develop a product that is also compliant.
Oh, sorry. What about Bitcoin? You guys don't do crypto? I warn people about crypto every day. Look at what happened when it was going to. In fact, our camera guy? He's a big fan of crypto. When it was hitting 100,000, he was telling me, Rutus, it's going to go to 200,000. And so, but you don't play with crypto.
Exactly. So if you weren't there and you missed out on that rally, you'll be complaining. But now you'll be, But yeah, it's for me. I would say it's expose your portfolio to it to the extent that it actually enhances the return, but not enough to make you lose all of your funds. So you have to be cautious.
You got to be cautious. It's a risky game out there. Look, Managing Director of Sycamore, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. I have to have you back. There's a lot going up in the markets. Really appreciate your time.